But now it's time for us to move on to the next segment, which is called Rapid Bias. And in this segment, I'll be asking my guests biased questions that they've got asked at some point in life. And in Rachel's case, biased questions people have about lesbians and queer people. So, Rachel, are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. First question. Will you still be open to sleeping with a man?
No, thank you.
And the next question is, will you be open to a threesome FFM? I need you to explain what FFM means to our listeners.
All right. So FFM is female, female, and male. So it's threesome between two females and a male. Answer is no. No, thank you again. But also to push this forward, that this is a very common question that I've gotten from couples, from... I don't know, if you're on Tinder, that's exactly what you get, right? I never knew this term called unicorn until I went on Tinder and I'm like swiping on these pretty looking chicks, and then they have this unicorn icon on their Tinder, and then they're like, oh, so are you down for me, like, to just hook up with me and my husband? I'm like, huh? She's like, didn't you see the unicorn icon that I put there? It should be obvious to you, and I didn't know that. So apparently the unicorn icon meant that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And for some reason, it's just like a lot of LGBTQ community members, they get a lot of sexual questions. In a way, like, people just have that misconception that members of the LGBTQ plus community are obsessed with sex.
Mm-hmm.
And the next question, can you just be straight and marry a guy?
No. Can you just be gay and marry someone of the same sex?
And the next one is, you're probably gonna say no also. It's just a phase.
I think everyone feels that. It could also be because of the bisexual culture, which I'll bring that out itself. That now people think that, for example, they've met someone who was with a woman, for example, but they end up getting married to a guy, to have babies and to buy a house, for example. And I think all those misconceptions come in, and then everyone thinks that, hey, it's going to always happen, right? So I think that's where the phase comes in. That's one thing. The second thing is they just want to be adventurous. They want to try something out. It's just a phase. But the answer is no, it's not a phase. And I'll say it's a journey, right? Especially for my bisexual friends. It's a journey for them to connect and find love. It doesn't matter whether they are with someone of the same sex or of the opposite sex. It's a journey, it's not a phase. So I always want to strike out that word. It's not a phase. And I always push it back to them. It's a journey and it's a choice. It's a journey and it's a choice. It's entirely up to them. So if it's a phase too, if it's a phase in my life, why does it bother you?
And that's very important to bring out, that one of our guests from this Pride edition also mentions that he knows some of the gay friends, gay men, they end up marrying a girl, and it's not because it was a phase for them, it was because of family pressure, it was because they would be in danger if they chose to continue embracing their sexuality. The next question is, are you the girl or the guy?
Yeah, it doesn't work. We are lesbians for a reason. I would say maybe you could, the term that they can use, okay, this is the educational part that's coming in, right? Something you can use it, probably, are you a more dominant person, or is your partner more submissive? So that's different, because this dominance and submissive term is also used in heterosexual couples. Some heterosexual women, they are more dominant than their male partners, for example. And it also could be that both of them are dominant in a relationship. For example, myself, I am always in a versatile relationship where both of us have our say. We open doors for each other. We pay for meals together. It doesn't matter who is more dominant and who is more submissive. Mine is about versatility and like sharing and like equality. Right? I'm super on about that. Like, I'm all about that. So bringing that back, there are some couples that do answer that question. And this is where I'll bring back, so educational portions of things as well. There are some lesbian women who identifies as lesbian, but really they want to transition into a male gender. And a lot of people, especially in Asia, they don't, okay, not within Asia, I would say in Singapore, they don't go through with the transitioning. it's difficult, it's expensive, it's hard. Right? How do they now go to our government to change our gender? So what happens then? They just now be within their body itself. And this is body dysphoria, right? Where they want to be a man, right? They want to transition, but they don't. So this question still applies, but this applies to couples who are like that, the dykes and the femmes, for example. A lot of this gets into the whole sex topic again, right? This is the whole sexuality and their body acceptance and how they are going to have their sexual activities with their partner. That plays a big part as well. So that question, I won't say no to that. Some people they're still okay with that question. Like for some lesbian women who wants to transition, who wants to transition to being a man and they're with a woman, they now have that approach of being the guy in a relationship. And they prefer being called him compared to her or them. So it times are changing. That question is still valid, but it should not be asked.
Or a better way to ask is ask the couple, how do they identify themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And finally, you just haven't met a guy you like yet.
Mm-hmm. I've met many men in my life. All my close friends are men. No, thank you.
That's great. All right. Thanks for joining this round of Rapid Fires, Rachel.